The bucket hit her before she even saw the man lift it. A full splash of dirty water crashed over Lena Carver's dress, soaking the faded cotton until it clung to her curves like wet clay. The sudden weight dragged the hem down to her ankles. Heat, sweat, mud. The summer noon burned like a furnace over Dry Willow Market, and the water, thick with soap scraps and horse dust, dripped from her sleeves onto the blistering dirt. "Move, girl," the man barked. "You're blocking the whole damn lane." Laughter broke out around her. Sharp, cruel, too loud under the scorching sun. "She's the size of a hog," someone snorted. "Bet she ate her family out of house and home." "Look at that dress. Poor thing's fighting for its life." Lena tightened her grip on her small canvas bag. She didn't trust her voice. She didn't trust the sting in her eyes either, so she bowed her head and stepped aside, apologizing even though the words barely made it past her lips. She shouldn't be here, but she had nowhere else to go. Her aunt had sent her away the day before. No tears, no hesitation, only that merciless sentence. "We can't feed you anymore, Lena. You're a burden. Go to the hiring market and pray someone takes pity." So she came, under the hottest sun of the year, to a place where girls were measured like livestock, especially girls built like her. The man who dumped water on her pushed past, still grumbling. No one defended her, no one even frowned. They all just watched the fat girl stand there dripping like a broken well. Lena inhaled slowly. She needed to hold herself together. She needed to. A shadow fell over her. Bootsteps, heavy, slow, purposeful. She looked up and, for a moment, forgot to breathe. A tall man stood between her and the crowd, broad shoulders beneath a sun-worn shirt, arms strong enough to lift fence rails without breaking a sweat, beard rough, jaw square, eyes the color of summer storm clouds. His face looked stern, even dangerous, but not at her. Jonas Hale. Everyone in Dry Willow County knew him. Rancher, carpenter, quiet as stone, strong as an ox, a man people didn't laugh at. Right now, he was speaking, to the man with the bucket. His voice was low, steady, and cold enough to still the heat. "Pick that bucket up," Jonas said. "Why the hell would I?" "Pick it up." The laughter died instantly. The man swallowed, bent, grabbed the bucket, and muttered a shaky apology. Jonas turned then, finally looking at Lena. "You hurt?" he asked. She shook her head, though her heart trembled. He offered a hand, rough and calloused, leaving the choice to her. "Come on," he said. "You shouldn't be standing out here alone." Lena hesitated. No one had ever offered her a hand in public, not when she was wet with shame and mud. But something in the way Jonas stood there, solid as a fence post, made her fingers lift before she could stop them. His palm was rough and warm. He helped her up, then stepped back so she could straighten her dress without feeling his gaze on her. They walked toward the edge of the market, where an old elm threw a patch of shade. Jonas crouched by a water trough, dipped a clean cloth, and held it out. "Here," he said. "Cool your face." "Thank you," Lena whispered. She pressed the cloth to her cheeks, washing away grit and the burn at her eyes. When she lowered it, Jonas was watching the dust, not her. "I didn't mean to be in the way," she said quietly. "You weren't," he answered. Some men just like having someone to kick. It was the first time anyone had spoken about her trouble as if it belonged to the one who caused it, not to her. Jonas cleared his throat. "I came here to hire help. House is more than I can keep up with alone. Livestock, fences, field work, and my ma. She has days she remembers and days she doesn't. I can't be in two places at once." Lena's fingers tightened around the cloth. "You're looking for a housekeeper?" "A helper," he said. "Cooking, cleaning, keeping an eye on ma when I'm out. Long days, plain pay, but it's honest. You don't even know if I can do it." Jonas finally met her eyes. There was no pity there, only measuring. "You lived long enough in that body folks mock," he said. "Means you've worked. Means you've borne more than you should. I reckon you know how to keep a roof standing." The words weren't fancy or sweet, but they slid into the hollow place in her like cool water. "I can cook," Lena said. "Clean. I've sat with old folks when their minds wandered." "How'd you handle it?" "Some days better than others," she admitted. One corner of Jonas's mouth twitched. "That's about all any of us can claim." He nodded toward the hitching rail. "My place is a few miles west. You'd have your own room. If it doesn't suit, I'll bring you back next week." Lena glanced toward the noisy yard, toward the men still laughing over nothing. No one else had offered more than a shove. She drew a breath. "I'll come." Jonas tipped his hat once. "All right then. Let's get gone before the sun cooks us both." The wagon rattled west beneath a hard blue sky. Dust climbed in little ghosts behind the wheels. Lena sat stiff on the bench, hands folded around her bag. Jonas held the reins loose but sure, the leather creaking each time the horse tossed its head. He didn't talk much. That suited her. After the noise of the market, the quiet felt like mercy. Fields rolled by, scrub, a line of cottonwoods along a dry creek, dark cattle speckled on a far hill. Every so often Jonas slowed at a rut so the wagon didn't jolt too hard. He never commented, just did it. "You from around here?" he asked at last. "East side of the county," Lena said. "Small place, smaller house." He nodded, as if that answered enough. "You can leave if it doesn't sit right. I meant that." "I know," she replied. "Doesn't mean I have anywhere to go back to." Jonas didn't press. By the time the sun leaned toward afternoon, a farmhouse came into view. It sat on a slight rise, boards weathered gray, porch wrapped in wild vines. A red barn, fading toward pink, stood behind it, and a line of fence posts marched off toward pasture. Jonas drew the wagon to a stop. "This is it." Before Lena could step down, the front door opened. An older woman shuffled onto the porch. Thin shoulders, gray hair pinned in a loose knot. Her eyes darted, sharp one moment, clouded the next. "Jonas, you're late," she snapped. "You left me with that clock ticking and nothing but my own thoughts." "I was gone 2 hours, Ma," Jonas said evenly. "You were fine." She ignored him, her gaze landing on Lena. It moved up and down, quick and cutting. "And who's this? Another mouth to feed? She'll eat you out of every sack in the cellar." Heat rushed to Lena's face, part anger, part shame. She opened her mouth, then shut it. "This is Lena," Jonas said. "She'll be helping." "I don't need help," May Hale muttered. "I need my son to stop dragging strays home." The words landed heavy. Lena dropped her gaze. Jonas's jaw tightened. "That's enough, Ma." The old woman huffed, turned away, and shuffled inside, mumbling about strangers and broken chairs. "I'm sorry," Lena whispered. "I didn't mean to trouble her." "You didn't," Jonas said. "The sickness troubles her. You were just standing in front of it." He hopped down, grabbed Lena's bag before she could protest, and nodded toward the door. "Come on, I'll show you where to put your things." Lena's room was small but clean, with a narrow bed, a hook for her dress, and a single window looking out over the yard. That first night, she sat on the edge of the mattress, fingers knotted in the blanket, listening to the house breathe. May muttered in the next room. Jonas's boots crossed the floor, then stopped. A door shut. Silence settled, thick as the heat. "I won't cry," Lena whispered. She lasted almost a minute before the tears slipped anyway, quiet, angry at herself, gone as soon as they came. "Tomorrow I start over." Morning came with the smell of coffee and the creak of the porch. Lena tied on an apron and stepped into the kitchen. May sat at the table, rocking chair angled so she could see both stove and door. "I made biscuits, Mrs. Hale," Lena said. "And eggs. There's jam if you'd like." May eyed the plate. For a heartbeat, her face softened. "My husband liked biscuits." "Yes, ma'am," Lena said gently. Jonas mentioned. "And you think you can cook like I did?" May snapped. Too much butter. Trying to kill me or fatten yourself? The words hit like small stones. Lena's throat tightened. I can make something plainer, she offered. Jonas, passing the doorway, paused. Ma. May waved him off. You never minded my cooking. Now you bring in a stranger and act like she's some blessing. That afternoon, Lena dropped a pail of feed when a hen darted underfoot. Grain scattered everywhere. She clapped a hand over her mouth, half a laugh, half a groan. I'm sorry, she muttered. Jonas took the empty pail from her, brows lifted just a little. Ground doesn't mind a spill. Birds'll see it as extra grace. Lena huffed out a breath. Your mother might not. She doesn't see half of what she scolds, he said. Don't carry every word like a stone. Easy for you, she thought, but bit it back. Days slipped into a pattern. Some mornings, May called her that girl and refused to touch her cooking. Other mornings, she patted Lena's hand, asking if she'd seen her long-dead sister. Lena answered as kindly as she could, until the kindness frayed. One hot evening, after May accused her of hiding a shawl Jonas later found under the bed, Lena's patience snapped. I am not your enemy, she said, voice shaking. I am trying to help. May stared at her, startled, then turned away with a sniff. Later, on the back steps, Jonas handed Lena a tin cup of cool well water. You lasted longer than most, he said. I lost my temper. You're allowed, he answered. Means you're not made of stone. The heat broke one afternoon with a low roll of thunder far off, but the air in the house stayed close and heavy. May had been restless all morning, pacing from room to room, fingers worrying the edge of her apron. Lena was cutting potatoes at the kitchen table when a sharp crash split the hallway. She dropped the knife and ran. May stood by the small table near the front door, breathing hard, shards of a framed photograph at her feet. The picture of Jonas's parents lay in the wreckage. You pushed me, May cried, though Lena was still 3 steps away. You've been shoving me out of my own house. I wasn't even near you, Lena said. You want my son, May spat. You want my place. Before Lena could answer, Jonas strode in from the porch. Ma, what happened? She knocked it down, May pointed at Lena, eyes wild. She'll send me off and keep every board you hammered. I didn't touch it, Lena said. I heard it fall from the kitchen. May lurched toward her. Get out, get! She shoved Lena. Lena's heel caught a loose rug. She tumbled backward, palms scraping on a splintered plank. Pain shot up her arm. Jonas caught his mother before she could stumble into the glass. That's enough, Ma, he said, voice tight. May sagged suddenly, all fight gone. Jonas? She whispered. I don't feel right. Her knees buckled. Jonas lifted her as if she weighed nothing. Lena, get the bed ready. They settled May under a thin sheet. Her breaths came shallow and uneven, eyes rolling towards something beyond the ceiling. I'll fetch Dr. Harlan, Jonas said. I can go, Lena offered. You're bleeding. He nodded toward her scraped palms. Wash up. Stay with her till I'm back. When he'd ridden off, the house felt too quiet. Lena sat beside May's bed, hands wrapped in clean cloth, listening to the old woman whisper half-formed names. You're safe, Lena said softly. Nobody's sending you away. Hours later, Jonas returned with the doctor. Dr. Harlan checked May's pulse, peered into her cloudy eyes, and sighed. Her mind's mostly gone, he said on the porch. Body's following. Could be days, maybe less. That night, after May finally slept, Lena sat alone at the kitchen table. Jonas poured coffee and took the chair across from her. I'm sorry she laid hands on you, he said. I'm sorry I shouted, Lena replied. I knew she wasn't herself. I just got tired. He nodded once. So did I, long before you came. They sat in the low lamplight, saying little, but for the first time it felt like they were facing it together, not alone. May's breaths grew thinner with each passing day. Sometimes she called Jonas by her husband's name. Sometimes she mistook Lena for a girl from long ago. Other times she only stared at the ceiling, humming a hymn that rose and fell like wind through old boards. Lena kept cool cloths on her forehead, spooned broth between her lips, spoke soft, even when no answer came. Jonas moved quieter through the house, as if noise might shake loose what little time she had left. One evening, as sunset laid a red band across the window, May's gaze wandered and, for a moment, caught them both. "Jonas," she whispered. He took her hand. "I'm here, Ma." Her fingers twitched, brushing Lena's sleeve. "Girl," she murmured, words slurring. "Stay. He shouldn't be alone." Her eyes drifted again. The moment passed like a thin cloud over the sun. She died just before dawn, with that old hymn fading on her lips. The funeral was small. A preacher from town, a few neighbors, dust and lilies in the heat. Lena stood a step back while Jonas shoveled the last earth over the grave. When it was done, he leaned on the shovel a long time, head bowed. That night, the house felt wrong without May's muttering. Jonas sat on the porch steps, staring into the dark yard. Lena brought him a mug of coffee and sat 2 boards away. "You don't have to stay on after harvest," he said quietly. "I can pay you through the fall. After that, you can find somewhere easier." "You want me gone?" she asked. He shook his head. "Just don't want you feeling trapped." Lena looked out at the fence line. "There's nowhere calling me," she said. "Only this place, only this work, only you, if I'm honest." Jonas's hand tightened on the mug. He let out a slow breath. "Then stay," he said. "Stay because you want to, not because the world shoved you here." She didn't answer with words, only moved 1 board closer. 3 summers later, the vines on the porch climbed higher, and laughter came easier. A little girl with dark eyes and Lena's round cheeks toddled between them, clutching a wildflower. They walked up the hill to May Hale's grave in the soft evening light. Jonas lifted their daughter so she could lay the flower on the stone. Lena slipped her hand into his. "We're doing all right, May," Jonas said. "Just like you hoped." Warm wind stirred the grass. They turned back toward the farmhouse, 3 figures against the gold of a western summer, heading home together. And maybe that's what the West was always about, not the guns, not the dust, not the endless miles of land, but the quiet way 2 wounded souls can find a place to stand, side by side, when the world has given them none. Lena Carver arrived with nothing but a torn dress, a bruised heart, and the weight of other people's laughter. She found a home, a husband, and a name spoken with love. Jonas Hale thought he would live and die alone. Instead, he learned that strength means nothing without someone to share the porch light with.